I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times. On Wednesday, November 25th, it's the day before Thanksgiving. Let me start with something really important. You have to put marshmallows on top of your sweet potato casserole. With that, on to the news. Check the Arkansas blog, arkansasblog.com, for David Ramsey's continuing thorough coverage of the state's dealing with the health care system and whether we'll continue the private option expansion of Medicaid under Obamacare that's been so successful in adding people to the health care rolls. David reports on the blog, and you can read great detail there, that it looks like the private option program will survive. The question is whether the state will move to a managed care program for regular Medicaid programs, and particularly for people who are disabled and elderly, and whether there'll be a move to more home care for people rather than institutional care. Big issue still to be fought out. In Baxter County today, the county judge, Mickey Pendergrass, said the county will not appeal a federal judge's ruling that the county may not have a nativity scene only Christmas decoration on the county courthouse lawn. Rather than open up the display to some people with other ideas, for example, a humanist wanted to have a happy solstice banner, he said there will be no religious symbolism on the lawn anymore. The nativity scene will go away, but there can be a Christmas tree and other secular things like snowmen and the like. He had a defiant news conference in front of a sign that said, "In God We Trust," as opposed to, say, the U.S. Constitution. Frederick Spencer, the Mountain Home lawyer who's provided the nativity scene through his family over several decades, says he'll set it up again this year on the lawn of his law office 3 blocks from the courthouse, so people will still be able to see it. I wrote for the Arkansas blog this morning about Bill Clinton's speech last night at the Clinton Library to the volunteers who keep the library operating every day. I was a guest of a volunteer, my wife, and he riffed on what had gone on in America under his leadership 20 years ago, and really quite a bit happened if you don't recall: bailing out Mexico, a peace agreement in the Middle East, a peace agreement in Bosnia, a peace agreement in Northern Ireland, new relations with Vietnam. Amazing stuff. Bill Clinton's recall of detail and some rather remarkable things that happened on his watch are a reminder today of just how insufficient I think some of the candidates are in talking about real issues and having command of the subject. Even if you didn't like Bill Clinton's politics, it wasn't for lack of knowledge or trying that should lead you to that conclusion. He's an impressive speaker, if nothing else. Take a look at what I wrote, see if you agree. Excuse me, Richard Mays, Little Rock lawyer, did some pretty successful bargaining with Little Rock Technology Park Authority. He's going to get $1 million for his law office building on Main Street. Won't have to go through a condemnation lawsuit. This is a good $500,000 more than the city taxpayer finance agency wanted to pay him in the first place. Hard-nosed bargainer. Maybe you ought to hire him as a lawyer. Mayor Mark Stodola of Little Rock has been elected second vice president of the National League of Cities. The significance is that in 2 years, he'll be president of that organization and spending a lot of time away from Little Rock in what is almost nearly a full-time job for the lobbying group for the nation's cities, and that will have some implication in local politics. Perhaps is one reason why he hired a chief of staff recently. Mike Huckabee was in Little Rock today, the Republican presidential candidate. He's having, I think it was described as office knee surgery for some bone chips in his knee and an injury in an airport a few weeks ago. He's going to miss his duck hunt, but he says he won't miss any campaign appearances in the next week or so. We turned up an interesting thing, thanks to Mara Leverett, our reporter on criminal and prison issues, that there's a new dress code at the state's prisons. Women cannot wear underwire bras, and they'll be turned away if their blouses are too thin. I say women, I guess men wearing underwire bras and thin blouses also will have difficulty. So take a look. I also found out that jeggings were not allowed at the prison, which led me to ask readers who did tell me just exactly what jeggings were. If you don't know, take a look at the Arkansas blog and we'll see. And so finally, happy Thanksgiving. We'll be back next week sometime, but hope you and yours have a good time. I'm Max Brantley.
You feel it in your heart, the spirit of Little Rock. We've had that spirit since 1927, helping build our city by producing decades of leaders in the heart of our state. We are the heart of business and innovation, the heart of politics and government, the heart of arts and culture, and in our city beats the heart of a Trojan. UALR, we are Little Rock's team.